Okay,
incredible.
so tell me, Dan, first of all, we know that this kind of thing is going to be spreading all across the country through the Obama administration. So tell me what people in your position, A, the most important thing that you have done, and B, what people like you all across the country should be looking for and taking care of.
Well, Glenn, it's interesting. This was a grassroots victory, by the way. I started hearing last summer from parents, and then when I became chairman of education in the fall, more people got in touch with me, a few teachers. I did some investigation. I traveled around the state. I talked to superintendents, and what a lot of superintendents said to me was, Dan, CSCOPE should not be used as a lesson plan. We use it as a management tool, but too many school districts were requiring their teachers to follow it word for word. So the more I looked into it, I felt we had to have a hearing, and let's get to the bottom of it. And there was some suspicion by other legislators who thought, because I'm viewed as the most conservative guy in the Senate, Amen. What is this conservative doing? Just trying to track out something that, trying to expose them because they called our Tea Party patriots terrorists, as you said at the top of the hour.
Right.
And instead, what I did, I wanted to get to the fundamentals of the organization. And it's always good, as you know, as an interviewer, to ask a question that catches people off guard at times. So my very first question to these regional service centers, they are paid by taxpayers, was what gave you the right to form this nonprofit corporation? And they looked at me like, what do you mean? And I said, well, what gave you the right? Because, see, they have no right. As you can't take tax dollars and form private companies unless, in rare situations, the legislature gives you permission. And they said, well, we didn't ask anyone. And I said, and you have this piece of paper here, Glenn. This is a really important point because, see, I believe they formed this company so they could conceal everything. I believe that after the hearing and doing a lot of work in this. And so I said, you have a letter to the Attorney General here where you say that CSCOPE, and the actual name is a different name, but CSCOPE is like any other company. And they said, well, we are. And I said, well, let me ask you this question. Do you have a phone number? No. Do you have an address? No. Do you have a company location? No. Do you have any employees? No. Does any money go in the bank or out of the bank? No. So that's not like any company I've ever seen. They set up this shell corporation, I believe, to hide all of this information. Now, what were they hiding? Well, first of all, they claim that they couldn't let parents and others see this material because of copyright. Well, textbooks have been on desks for years, and you take home. I mean, they have a copyright protected. I mean, they don't have any special they don't have any special propriety over the CSCOPE lessons just because they're online. So that didn't make sense. And then some people said, well, they've been protecting it because there's some plagiarism in there they don't want you to see. Well, I've already uncovered one example of plagiarism where they copied a transparency directly from a publisher that is looking into that. And they said, gee, we didn't know about that. So I don't know what they're covering up, but we're going to find out. So after the hearing, which was an amazing hearing, where we unveiled the fact that they were having social study classes design communist flags, as you talked about early on, they said they didn't know about that. And everything we asked them, they said, oh, gee, we didn't know. Or what about this full lesson on Islam but nothing on Christianity? Oh, we've stopped that. What about the Boston Tea Party? That's an old lesson. It was just nothing but excuses through the hearing. It was an amazing hearing.
Dan,
and so now we have... Yes,
hang on just a second. I want to show this. This is what you get on Islam. And you get 3 pages on Christianity. So that's how fair it is.
And they say they've stopped that now.
Yeah,
yeah, and that's an old lesson. Well, then that was the story. And so we filed, Senator Donna Campbell and myself filed Senate Bill 1406 today, which would permanently put CSCOPE under the State Board of Education that David Barton worked on and did such an incredible job on years ago. But there are 1,600 lesson plans, Glenn and Pat and Dave, and so it's going to take months for the State Board of Education now to go through these lessons, and we'll see what we find.
Have you stopped the hemorrhaging at all? I mean, if I have a kid in class right now, I don't care about, you're going to do these investigations and everything else. My kid is learning this garbage. Has it stopped?
Well, here's what we have told them they need to do. Number one, and they've agreed to do it in a joint letter with me, but I'm going to monitor them to make sure they do. Number one, they have to close down this nonprofit corporation. Number two, they have to begin putting everything online for parents to see. Number three, they had to send a letter to their 875 districts saying we do not recommend that these lessons be taught word for word. Number four, they have to begin working with the State Board of Education. So I'm going to follow their progress. What we do in Senate Bill 1406, besides putting them under the SBOE, is, quite frankly, we're going to see what are they, good actors or bad actors? We're going to find out what's really going on behind the curtain. And the truth is, Glenn, if it were totally up to me, I think we should close the program down now. But we don't have the votes. And because the evidence has not been brought forth enough for enough legislators to make that decision.
Dan?
Yes.
You give me all the things that you can give me. We will make sure we cover it on The Blaze. We'll cover it on television. We'll cover it on the radio show. I'll go door to door if I have to get the votes. If my kids are not in public school here, but I'm telling you, if we lose Texas, we lose the country. And besides the global view, if you will, how can anyone who sees what I've seen, and I haven't seen what you have and what you guys have seen, how can anyone sleep at night knowing this is happening in their school? So whatever you need.
Well, yeah. Well, we will work together to do that, be assured. And I'm sure we'll begin learning things as the State Board begins their process. I had to get them some help to do this because they're a volunteer board, and this is a massive project. But we're going to get help, people like David Barton and others, and we're going to get them some staff to help begin this process. But Glenn, very quickly, this is a danger in education today. We just had a discussion last night about this issue, that the genie is out of the bottle. You won't find a textbook, except for very few in several years. Everything is going to be online, and technology is great, and I believe in technology, but we have to be able to monitor that. I mean, Apple just came out with a program this week. They're going to make almost everything free. In fact, Apple will probably put CSCOPE out of business, quite frankly. We have the Khan Academy, which is great. Everyone loves the Khan Academy online. But what else is online that we don't know? So this is a new territory for us in public education, and if people with bad intentions get into our schools through online learning that's not monitored, that does not teach the values and principles that this country was founded upon, that can't even teach basic math, then the future of our country is bleak. So we have to embrace technology like we're on today on something that no one would have thought of 10 years ago, but you're a genius. But we're going to have to corral this, watch it, and we'll stay in touch with you. And we need your help. And thank you for exposing it today.
Thank you. Okay, we're out of time, so we're gonna break this show up into a couple of different things in the future. We're going to come back with solutions on a full show for you as a teacher and as parents. We're going to come back with more information just on the parents and the legislators as well across the country. We will stay on this topic. Back in a minute.